So naturally, I'm a very skinny guy, and this is what I used to look like before I started training. And this is what I look like now. I've condensed everything I've learned over those 7 years and years I've trained to basically give you a plan that you can follow so you can make this transformation as fast as possible. And this goes into 5 areas: a calorie surplus, eating tips, training, tracking progress, and making it a season of your life. So let's go. So number 1 thing I want to go over is a calorie surplus. Without this, you cannot bulk up and you cannot build muscle, in my opinion. This is the backbone. Basically means your body takes in more calories than it burns out. So for example, your body takes in 2,500 calories in food and you burn 2,200 calories just from your daily activities or training, and then that leaves you with a plus 300 calorie surplus, and this basically equals a weight gain. And this weight gain phase, being in a caloric surplus is what you call it, that is the best phase to build muscle because your body's got enough nutrients from the food. That's step 1. I would recommend the tracking calories at the start just to make sure you're actually in a surplus, because a lot of times you might think you are, but you won't be. A simple one is just to get MyFitnessPal. Whatever your food you're about to eat, scan it, weigh it, and just put it in there. And the only thing I would encourage at this point is only just look at the calories. Forget about the proteins, fats and carbs for now. And if you want to calculate your calories, what you need to eat is very simple. Just go on this website called caloriecalculator.net. I'm going to leave a link in the description for you. Input your data, proper simple, and you find out exactly what you need to be eating on a day to essentially build muscle and gain weight. Now the next thing is those eating tips I mentioned. Just because being in a surplus tends to be a little bit harder because you have to eat more food, there's a couple of things I would work on. Number 1 is just get a meal plan or eat very similar meals on a day-to-day, because it makes it very easy to maintain. I have very set meals pretty much for me. So for example, morning or for breakfast, when I have my first meal, I'll have some sort of egg meal, then I'll have chicken wraps, maybe a protein shake in between. Then in the evening I usually have like beef or fish. Right now I'm having noodles. So it's just very simple because I don't need to think too much about what I'm going to make. It makes your life a lot easier without, you don't have to put as much effort in. It's cheaper. If you're buying things regularly, you'll know exactly how much you're spending. You can budget it, which is a smarter way of going about it. And if you have no idea what you need to eat, just go on ChatGPT and type in the calories that you want, the foods that you want, and just ask it to make your meal plan, and it will do a half decent one. You might have to make a couple of adjustments here and there, but it's just not a bad place to start. Another thing to make life easier, start cooking these one pot meals like pasta pots or noodle pots, or like chicken and rice in a big pot. Anything where you can make multiple meals at once, just in terms of efficiency. If you're going to go to the kitchen, you need to cook food, don't just cook for one meal, cook for at least 3 or 4 in one go. That's the benefit of a one pot meal. It makes my life a lot easier, and it helps me during the bulking phase just with the time it saves. If you want a couple of meals as well, you can check out my meal plan video. I'll link it somewhere here. Next point I want to go over is training. So with training, what I would recommend first of all is sticking to one program for at least 12 weeks. And I say this from my experience because if you jump from routine to routine, you're not giving your body, your central nervous system, enough time to adapt to each exercise. You have to learn how to do proper form, and you have to give enough time to progress in it, because that's where the muscle growth lies. And it takes a couple of weeks, obviously, push to the maximum range, so to get to that failure where your body's really taxed, that's where that muscle growth will come as well, in my opinion. And to implement this, I would recommend either a 3 or 4 day split. 4 day split would be perfect, even 3 days would work. And this is because it is more sustainable long term. As your life gets busier, as you've got more things that you need to do, if you have a 3 or 4 day split, it's a lot more manageable with the other aspects of your life. And building muscle is all about long-term consistency, not a short-term burst of intensity. Just remember that. And there's a link to a couple of free workouts below as well that you can use if you don't know what to train or how to train. Another massive important factor is focusing on compound exercises while you're in this muscle gain phase. So they're basically multi-joint exercises, so exercises that involve multiple muscle groups or multiple joints, and these elicit the most muscle growth in my personal opinion, and a lot of research has shown, and also is the best in terms of moving the max amount of weight, because you get more strength because of more joints being involved. And you really want to focus on these and focus on getting stronger at these. And I'm going to put a list of my favourite compound exercises at the moment for the main muscle group, so you can have a look through, pick a few of them out if you need to, and implement them into your routine. The next thing is, with these compound exercises, it is very, very important to progressively overload weekly. This is going to be where your muscles are going to start to grow. It basically means you increase the intensity of the workout routine week after week, so your body and muscles are forced to adapt. And there's a couple of different ways you can do it. So for example, you can increase the reps that you do, increase the sets, decrease your rest time, change your tempo, so make it slower if you need to, introduce a new exercise into the routine or add a new variation of the same exercise, changing the angle for example. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but what I would recommend is pick one and just apply it to your routine because it's a case of simplicity. Best one I would recommend honestly is just to increase the reps, and I want to show you how you can use this in actual real world scenario. So let's just say for example you've got a workout routine and on there it says your aim is for 3 sets of 10 reps on bench press. What you would do in a progressive overload scenario is on week 1 you try out the weight and you see how much you get. So for example you get 3 sets of 9 reps on 60 kg. So you keep working, so week 2, week 3 for example, until you get that 3 sets of 10 reps with one weight. So now that you've got that 3 sets of 10 reps with 60 kg, the next week you go in, you're going to micro load. So you're going to increase the weight by a small amount, for example 65 kg, and then repeat it. And you're going to do that again till you get 3 sets of 10, 10, 10 with 65 kg, then you're going to up the weight. And you can apply that across the board with different routines, for example leg, back, shoulders, doesn't matter. In a case of simplicity, as long as you're progressing week after week, you're going to get the gains. Another important factor I want to go over with the bulking phase is volume delegation. A mistake I found and a mistake I made is trying to bring out every single body part of mine at once. There's just frankly not enough time to do that. Volume delegation means you delegate extra number of sets to a body part that you want to work on and decrease the number of sets in a body part that's naturally quite strong. So for example, what they say is to train 10 to 20 sets heavy per muscle group per week, so not including your warm-up sets. Obviously doing 20 sets on every single muscle group isn't doable just in case of time, efficiency, and realistically with the amount of recovery that you need as well. So what you do is, what I would recommend, especially if you're starting out, is for your weak points, give them more weekly sets, and for your strong points, give them less weekly sets. So for example, my back is quite a strong point for me. I've realised it doesn't take much for it to grow because I was bad at it when I was a kid. So I only need, for example, 9 weekly intense sets for my back to maintain and even grow slightly. However, my shoulders are a weak point. So for example, they have 18 weekly heavy sets to promote that growth. So it's something to think about. And instead of getting to the mentality of I'm going to grow everything at once, pick different areas to work on through different phases of training and bring them up, then move on to the next one. I wish I knew this earlier, it would have saved me a lot of time, and I would have actually made more progress within my journey so far if I did implement this, I truly believe. Now the next thing you want to focus on is tracking your progress. Put simply, your progress is going to be your data. If you don't track progress, you don't know what adjustments you need to make in order to improve your journey. So progress I would be tracking is your weight. So for example, every morning on a Sunday, wake up fasted, no water, and weigh yourself. Are you going up in weight? Next is taking pictures of your physique. Those weak points that you wanted to work on, check it. Is it improving? Is it lagging? Is there no changes? And once you've got 6 weeks, for example, of data, you can have a look and think, right, I'm eating, for example, 2,500 calories, but my weight is still not going up. Now you have data to make an adjustment. So let me bulk up my calories to 2,800. If you don't have the data, you're basically shooting in the dark, and you can end up wasting months and even years thinking you're doing something when you're actually not. So the next is a personal favourite for mine, and I want to encourage you to make it a season, just to go all in on this phase of your life. I think we all know as a man it is vital to be strong and physically capable, but building muscle is not easy. It's not something that happens in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, especially not in my case. And if you're like me, you're going to want to dedicate a good portion of your life to this. I don't mean just eradicate everything else, but I mean is make this your central focus, or make the decisions that you have to make tailored to this goal of building muscle. If you know you need to be eating better, then eat better. If you know you need to sleep more, then sleep more. If you know to be in the gym instead of going out to play, I don't know, PS4 with your boys out, then go to the gym. If you do this for a few years and you build that physique, it makes it so much easier for you in the long term to just maintain it. That's the key thing I want you to understand. Once you've got it, it's very hard to lose unless you're absolutely lazy and you've not changed your mindset. But if you're watching my videos, most likely when you get there, you will keep it as well. Make this the season of gaining muscle and building a powerful frame and a powerful physique. And once you've done that, then I would then go do whatever you want. Like pick another sport, for example, or if you want to get into calisthenics like I did. There's different variables, different roads you can take, but I would honestly just recommend just be an absolute gym rat. Lock in on this, eat good food, sleep, train, and just repeat until you get the muscle growth that you desire.